Okay, so awesome. Welcome to this week's edition of the Sesh, right? The first week, it is definitely the first week. So I figured this would be like the best time to talk about what's going on with the internet and SOPA or PIPA or whatever they call them. But basically the censorship issue that's going on, anti-piracy. And I think it's probably like the best to start off just by talking about the fact that we all kind of feel that piracy is wrong, right? I mean, there's no argument there.
For sure.
But there's definitely some issues with the laws, and thought it would just be kind of good to talk about it. So, what do you guys think about it? What do you think are the issues?
Ladies first.
Ladies first.
Lauren, how about you? We'll make it easy. How about you?
Well, I mean, the problem with it kind of is it's giving the power to these bigger businesses to kind of control the internet. And I think that they could just form it better, and you know, with the blacking out of the websites, people are going to they can find ways to get through it through numbers and stuff like that. And I just think it could have a lot of changes that could make it more effective in terms of piracy and less, you know, and more effective as in a way to get.
We're gonna have to start. He's
Okay,
not cooperating this one.
Okay. Sorry about that.
He's trying to dig in the phone.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's fine. And just more effective in terms of, you know, keeping the internet a place where people can, you know, express themselves and share and, you know, get information.
Okay, I kind of agree with that. Like, one of the things that just jumps at me, I don't know about you guys, but it's kind of scary to think that in 2012 the government is even considering taking that kind of control over something that has been free and should be free. And I understand, again, trying to curb piracy, but history tells us, if you look back at what was it, the 18th Amendment, Prohibition, it was a seemingly good idea to stop alcohol because there was a small group of people that thought it would protect families, children, and all that fun stuff. But what really happened is within the first 5 years, crime increased. You know, the mental illnesses, that they called it, increased, which was really just people being drunk, and you know that hasn't changed. But it didn't do what it was supposed to do, and in fact, it turned everything backwards. And what was it? You know, underground crime.
Yeah, the beginning of organized crime. And to all the gangsters and everybody else. Exactly. And the same thing will happen, you know, now in its own way. I mean, you know, if we really wanted to get a pirated movie, you just go to the local gas station in the ghetto, you pick one up. You know what I mean? So it's still gonna happen. It's the truth, you know. And even some places that aren't so ghetto, you know, some flea market or whatever. It's not impossible to get free content if the people really want it. So, you know, giving them the opportunity to monitor, to Big Brother, to, you know, pirate our freedom, you know, like it's just gonna open doors for them to do more stuff also. Because then it's going to be like, oh, now I want to do this, and oh, well, now I want to do this.
Well, I think even more so than, in addition to that, the Big Brother element, there's that level of infrastructure that these companies now are going to have to create to mitigate risk. So, you know, is Facebook always going to be free, like it says on the homepage? How are they going to pay for monitoring every piece of content that's shared? And is it going to change fundamentally the way that social media works and is intended to work and the way people communicate?
And they're already big. I mean, with Facebook, if you upload something that's not, you know, we've had that accidentally happen, you know, where something's a little in there and they come on, you know. I believe they should do like YouTube does and say, okay, well, yeah, it's got this song, so you can buy it here. Click this button.
Well, looking at some of the companies behind that are actually supporting these two bills, it's kind of interesting to me because obviously they're looking out for their interests, which makes sense. I mean, every business should. But it seems like, to me, this would be the time when people would start considering how to reorganize their business in line with the changes that are happening technology-wise and times-wise. So, in other words, music, for example. There used to be a time when there were big record executives and there were all these layers in between the artist and the end-user consumer. We get that. But the fact is, people are willing to pay what they value, and they're willing to pay whatever they value if they value it. So there's some, to me, responsibility on the part of the record labels to produce music, number one, that people want, and then opportunities for them to get the music. Instead, they're trying to control things. So as soon as you try and tell somebody, you know, we created this great song, but we're only releasing it here, and you can only get it here, and it's not going anywhere else, people are going to look for it. Why shouldn't they? I mean, that was the whole, wasn't it for entertainment?
I think piracy will always find its way. no matter what.
I agree.
You were about to say something.
I was just gonna say, from the social media, like our job, getting content for people, a lot of it is repurposing content that we think our community is gonna be interested in. And it, for some of the stuff I was reading, it was almost like they weren't gonna allow you to even share their links anymore. So it's almost changing, might change the way we work. I don't know. It's just, there's so many what ifs in the document that I was reading that I think that they're gonna have to come back with some kind of revised.
Well, I think the bill is too broad to begin with.
Yeah.
And too nebulous. It's
Yeah.
not clear,
I agree with that.
and it gives too much power to the corporations and the government to act without having, I think, due cause.
Okay, so one of the cool things we always have with sessions, right, is coming up with a solution. So, I mean, what are some of the solutions? Because, you know, I think we talked about this earlier, Maria. For the movie industry, we talked about it too, Tony. You know, right now, if a new movie comes out, you have to go spend $8 or more at the theater, right, to see it, and then you have to wait for however long for it to come out on DVD. And then on top of the movie itself, you have to pay for the popcorn and whatever else. And I think the movie companies are saying, you know, pirated movies are cutting into our profits. Okay, we get that. But if there's a movie we really want to see, I mean, I don't know, when Paranormal Activity came out, I wanted to see that movie really bad. And if
You
they,
probably can't say that.
right?
When that one ghost movie.
Yeah.
But not that one ghost movie, not Ghost, but there's one ghost. See, you can't win.
The one with the camera.
The one with the camera, right? So anyway, that Ghost movie, when that came out, it would have been really cool if they had some kind of site where, you know, people could pay $8 to download the movie on the same day that it released, right from their home. And do you really? I mean, honestly, if I think about that and how many people wanted to see that movie, I think the profits probably would have been better than what they're seeing now from the theaters.
Wouldn't it? Oh,
No, that just makes me think of, like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say HBO. But, you know, like all those shows that you have, that they're like the talk. They get all these awards and all that kind of stuff, but you have to subscribe to these channels to watch it. If there was a place like you pay per episode,
yeah.
if you,
Exactly.
they can make a killing with that, because a lot of people do think of right now rather than I'll save in 4 months if I just buy the package. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, there's so much stuff in place already. You know, I mean, Hulu has big control over all that. Netflix, of course, and now with these ultraviolet movies, where you can buy the movie and then you have the physical copy, but you also have it in the cloud. Now there's an ultraviolet cloud. So think about it, and you know, those can be monitored. So you can, a new release comes in, you know, you watch it through your ultraviolet mobile device or on TV or whatever it is, and then it cuts off. That's fine. You know, you rent the movie basically, and it's that simple. You know, not everybody can go out and spend, you know, $50 on date night just to go watch one movie. You know, when you have 8 kids or whatever it is, you know, it just all adds up. So yeah, but if you have a TV, a nice, you know, you spend so much on your HD TV and you have a great sound system, stuff like that, why not spend $20 once and you can watch the movie at home?
Can we say HD?
I don't even know. I don't even know. Lots of pixels on a talkie box.
Flat-ish kind of surface. Yeah.
So there's options. There's completely options. It's just if they choose to do it.
So what's the bottom line? What do you think?
It just needs to be made more effective towards the angle of piracy than it is. It's kind of leaking into all these other areas, and that's what people have their questions about. And, you know, these questions just need to be addressed, and it needs to be, you know, more geared toward piracy.
It's too broad, and it needs to really be tightened up to impact the objective, or to impact what they're trying to accomplish, not just kind of a broad brush that might take care of the problem but create 10 other ones.
Unintended consequences.
Exactly. You know, when traveling, when we leave the country, then we try to access things that are in America. You know how like we'll get a block, and we'll say like, no, this is only allowed in the U.S. Why can't we kind of have something like that the other way then? Because if we're getting pirated stuff from the Philippines or China, then why can't those websites just be by your service provider? It's that simple.
Ooh, did we talk about that too, though? That was one of the provisions in the bill, I think, that's kind of questionable with everybody, is putting the onus on the internet service providers to police the content that's coming through. It's just not practical. I think that's one of the things that they haven't addressed. The nebulous language that you're talking about, they haven't addressed the fact that that's undoable.
Especially YouTube's, like, I don't know what the stats are, but I know that videos are being uploaded every second. And do they really want people? I just think it's so crazy that they're gonna, someone who's singing a cover of their favorite song to try to get like found, like famous or known or whatever, they're not allowed to be doing what they love anymore.
That's what I said earlier. That's how like Justin Bieber started out. You know, like we would have no Justin Bieber. Like, really?
That's
what
to
would
be
we
the
do without
defense.
him?
Should just get picket signs and start defending that. You know what I mean? Like what happened to Bieber? Yeah.
And not necessarily because we like the Biebs, but just
Exactly,
because we won't
just
have more
because,
material.
you know, yeah.
But that's how everyone learns, you know, so as a musician, as a filmmaker, whatever it is, you learn by mimicking other people. So like, how are you not supposed to express that?
And how else would you get yourself out there necessarily? I mean, other than...
See, and then where it spills over, the people that are doing covers in bars, what are they going to be hunted next?
What's
you know?
that? Yeah.
See, that was my other thing too. My question is it's not really the artists that are, I don't think the artists are the ones behind this. I think it's the executive, the record label executives, because an artist sings because they like entertaining and they like singing, right? So whether the pirates are there or not, I saw that one comment on Twitter today from that guy that said, you know, I'd rather, or SOPA and PIPA are going to force people to pirate my entire album, which is true. Rather than the people that would be willing to pay for it, it's going to force everybody into some underground. So it's really not about the artists, I don't think. I think it's about these people that are so used to making a certain amount of money and having things their way. And I think it's really unfortunate that our government is even considering, you know, acting as a puppeteer and enabling that kind of corporate greed. Okay. So thanks for watching this episode of the Sesh. If you're as passionate about this as we are, we hope that you visit pretty much any of your favorite sites today. Most of them are participate in the blackout in some way or another, and let Congress know your feelings on things. And I guess that's it until next week, right? Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Bye.